Hi everyone, it's Matt here. Welcome to Hope Kids Club Online, episode 14! Thank you for that, Maxie. Appreciate that interruption. Anyway, coming up this week, we have a special segment from Hannah Finkel showing off her editing skills. We love to see kids showing videos of the skills that they're learning and what they're good at, things that God has given them. And she's really good at editing, so we'd love to see some of her photo and video editing. She's going to show that off in the next segment. And then we have a special story from the one and only Pastor Chris Lovell. If you were part of Encounterfest last year, you remember him as one of our guest speakers, and he had the puppet and stuff, and he was awesome. He has an incredible story for you. So sit back, enjoy. This is the episode 14. Yay!
Just gotta get the camera right. Hello dolls, my name's Ruby Roo. I want to introduce to you a great story about Firefighter Dan. Firefighter Dan is a hero who saved many of me mates during the recent bushfires in Australia. It's a great story and I would like you to read it and watch it with me. I got the camera right there. Yeah, so enjoy. Look forward to catching up with you again soon. Bye! Or hooroo, as we say in Australia. Hooroo, hooroo.
Firefighter Dan, a tribute to the brave Australian firefighters who saved so many Australian bush animals in the recent bushfires. Written and illustrated by Chris Lovell, copyright 2020. A hot wind rushed through the trees with a frightening sound. Dry grass and broken twigs mixed together span around. A wisp of smoke, burning embers glowing red. The bushfire exploded through the trees, ashes flying ahead. Leaves smouldered into a blazing light. Dry, broken branches began to ignite. The cockatoos screeched a warning cry. Their voices called out across the smoke-filled sky. Bushfire! Bushfire! Don't ask why, don't ask how, just fly away now! The cockatoos raised the alarm over the bush. The fire spread through the forest with a whoosh. Cooker heard the cockatoos call, so he flew to tell his friend Roo about the coming fireball. A bushfire's coming, Cooker called out to Roo in fright. Yes, I know. I can see the distant smoky light. Let's go before it's too late, Roo called out as he bounced off to warn his mates. Roo found Goanna having a nap in the shade of a bush. He woke him with a poke and a push. Yeah, what's the matter, Roo? Why are you being so rude? Why are you in such a bad mood? There's a fire coming. There's no time to sleep. Dig a hole and go down deep. Oh no, Goanna groaned. I hate smoke. I'm afraid I'll cough and choke. You'll be okay. Just do as I say. Dig a deep hole and hide away. Wait until the fire passes by. You'll be safe from the smoke and you won't die. Oh, you're a real champ, Goanna said as he began to dig a tunnel under the ground. I'll be off now. I'll see you around. Roo had to hurry. He had to make haste. The fire was coming, and he had no time to waste. It did not take long before Roo found his mates hiding in the bush, looking scared. He called them together. "A fire's coming," he declared. Some of his mates began to sob and cry. "We're all going to frizzle and fry." "Don't panic," Roo called with a loud shout. "She'll be right. I've got a plan to get us all out." His mates gathered around to hear what he had to say. They knew if they listened to him, he would lead them away. Roo told them his daring plan to take them to a safe place, but time was short and they would need to race. "I'll take you to the bridge across the ravine divide. We will all be safe on the other side." Bill Bilby and Kath Koala looked worried and confused. Wally Wombat seemed quite amused. "You must be joking," Wally said with a sneer. "I can't cross that bridge. I'm no mountaineer." Wally was rather lazy. He thought that walking in the heat was crazy, so he said, "I'm going to stay. I'll hide when the fire comes this way." "That's not a good plan. Come with us while you can." Wally didn't listen to Roo. He didn't like being told what to do. He had made up his mind he was going to stay behind. The sky turned from day to night. The animals were filled with fear and fright. "We need to leave right away," Roo called to his mates. "There's no time to delay." Wally was feeling sleepy, so he decided to take a short doze. He woke when he felt something passing over his nose. He opened his sleepy eyes and stared at Blacksnake with surprise. "Where are you going?" Wally began to inquire. "Are you escaping the bushfire?"
"What bushfire?" Blacksnake hissed. "There's no fire. It doesn't exist."
"You mean it's just a joke?" asked Wally in delight.
Blacksnake said, "Yes, that's right. You have nothing to fear. Just relax and stay right here."
Wally was shocked by what Blacksnake said. Why was the sky so dark and red? Was what Blacksnake saying true? He really didn't know what to do. He said to Blacksnake, "So I don't need to run away?"
"Yes, it's much safer for you to stay,"
Blacksnake said as he wriggled off double quick, pleased that Wally was so easy to fool and trick. The hot, dry wind roared, blowing red, and embers soared. The thick, dark smoke made an eerie sight. It created a strange red and orange light. "Danger, Wally, danger. The fire is on its way. Time to leave, not stay." Wally woke, breathing in the nasty smoke. He coughed and began to choke. He had to find a place to hide or it would be too late. He thought how foolish it was to stay behind and wait. He found a burrow that was filled with dirt and twigs, so he began to quickly scratch and dig. His head got stuck in the hole. His tummy was jammed up tight. His bottom was sticking out. Not a pretty sight. The flames were spinning round and round, then they rushed across the dry ground. Would Wally stay alive? Would he survive? All went dark. Wally felt gloved hands pulling him from above, then a strong tug and a gentle shove. He was being pulled out into the light. He started to struggle and to fight. "Let me go," he grumbled as he wiggled, trying to get free. But he was being held tight and he couldn't get free. "Don't be afraid," a gentle voice spoke in his ear. "There's nothing to fear." Wally opened his eyes, blinked, and began to stare. He looked in the face of a man full of care. It was firefighter Dan, who'd heard the sounds of Wally crying with his head in the ground. Dan saved Wally from being firmly stuck. He lifted him up in his arms and carried him to his truck. Wally was relieved that he was okay. Firefighter Dan had saved him this day. Dan was a very brave bloke. He wasn't afraid of the fire and the smoke. As the fire truck bounced along the rough track, he told Wally to rest on the seat in the back. When the fire truck arrived at the bridge, Dan jumped out. "Come on, Wally," he called out with a shout. "There's no time to delay. You need to cross this bridge right away." Wally didn't want to stay behind and burn, so he approached the bridge with some concern. "I'm afraid of heights," he cried with worry. "I can't cross. Oh, I'm very sorry." "Wally, there's no time to decide. I'll carry you across to the other side." Dan carried Wally in his arms with no effort at all. As he crossed the bridge, he began to call. The animals answered him with shouts of praise. They were thankful that Wally had been saved from the fiery blaze. Dan smiled at Wally with affection. He wanted him to listen to his correction. "Wally, I hope you've learnt a lesson today. It's important that you learn to listen and obey. You could have died by being so stubborn and full of pride." "Oh, thank you for saving me. You're certainly right. I've learnt a lot from experiencing such a fright." Wally told Roo that he was sorry for how he had behaved and that he was so thankful that he had been saved. The animals waved as Dan drove away. He was their great hero on this terrible day. The wind changed and the rain began to fall. The cockatoos began to call. "The bushfire's going out! Don't ask why, don't ask how, just fly back home right now." The bush animals all sent up a big cheer. Wally and Roo clapped and gave a loud shout. Everyone was happy that the fire was going out. The end. Proverbs 8 says, "Now then, my children, listen to me. Blessed are those who keep my ways. Listen to my instruction and be wise. Do not disregard it. Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my doors, waiting at my doorway. For those who find me find life and receive favor from the Lord. But those who fail to find me find harm themselves. All who hate me love death."
Hey everyone, it is encouragement time for this week, and for this week's encouragement time, I want you to know something very simple, very powerful that I want you to never forget. No matter what you go through in life, never forget this. You are amazing. That's right. You right now, every kid, every person I'm talking about, point at yourself right now. Yeah, point at yourself. Why? Because yes, I'm talking to you. You are amazing. Amazing! Why do I say that? Because God says so. And if God says so, it is the absolute truth and cannot be denied. Let's have a look at that in Scripture today. I want to show you this as we go through this short journey and this encouragement. We were actually in Psalms 139 a couple of weeks ago in a previous video, and we looked at verse 17 that talked about that God's thoughts for you outnumber the grains of sand in the beach. He thinks about you a lot. I want to go back 3 verses back from that. So if you're good at maths, I'm not as good, but you're probably better than me. In -3, we get to verse 14. And it says this: "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." Wow, what an incredible statement. You are fearfully, wonderfully made. And it says there, your works are wonderful. Another way to say it is your works are perfect, without flaw, designed as you wanted it to be. You are amazing. And we need to realize that it is very easy in this world to compare ourselves with other people around us. There's people who are better than us at certain things, and we go, "Well, I fail at that, but you're good at that, so then I'm a failure. There must be something wrong with me." And that is far from the truth. That's not true. There is nothing wrong with you. God has made you perfect the way you are. He designed you the way you are for a special purpose. You just need to discover what that is. A great example of my life, and some of you know this in small detail, but I'm going to go into more of it today. In school, and still now, I have a writing disability. I can't write that well. It's called a fine motor skills disability, which means I can't do well the small things for coordination like jewelry, or in particular, one of the main fine motor skills things that you do in life is writing. So, right? And my writing is really messy. Here's an example of it. Okay, go towards the lens a bit more. There you go. It's just, I don't want to mirror it, but you can see it's quite messy. my writing was actually 10 times worse than that when I was at school. Like, you couldn't read it all. So no matter how well I tried to learn writing, because of my disability, I couldn't pick it up like other kids. And unlike you kids have all the fancy tablets, computers, and stuff like that at school, we didn't have that at school. Everything was handwritten. So if the teacher wrote everything on the blackboard and wanted you to write it down, you had to be handwritten. All your exams, you put your answers in handwritten. All your assessments, assignments at home were all handwritten. So they wanted an essay, like a 1,000-word essay. Guess what? I had to write that handwritten. And because of that, my teachers couldn't read anything. And so they would fail me. I had a thing called, this is what I call this, it's called the red pen of doom. Why do I call it the red pen of doom? Because at school, when I was at school, when the teachers are marking your exams, everything that was wrong, they would cross or circle or underline or make notes about in red. So I used to call it the red pen of doom. And of course, you couldn't read all my stuff, so everything was always failed. It'd always come back with red. And one teacher actually wrote under one, Matt, you failed because I couldn't read your writing. It's sad that a teacher would say that to me. And then I started to think, because I couldn't write properly, something was wrong with me, that I was a failure, that I wouldn't be able to do anything good in life compared to these other people. Until a teacher came along my path, Miss Van Zeno in grade 7, who actually sat beside me and went, Matt, we're going to put your writing to the side. And she started to write things out for me and write in the answers for me. The next step was they actually did tests to find out what was going on with my writing. And they actually discovered that if you asked me a question in an exam and allowed me to answer it verbally, I would get the majority of the answers right. That I was actually highly intelligent. The test showed I had a very high IQ and I had a thing called photographic memory. I would remember everything was taught in class. Why? Because I couldn't write it down. The other opposite was my body, my mind compensated to have an incredible memory, so I'd be able to recall everything that I was learning via photographic memory. And then I could read really well, so everything I read I would remember. I was a speed reader. So there wasn't actually that something wrong with me. I was looking at this writing and I didn't realize I actually had some really, really good skills. And then I had a youth pastor in my youth group, bit like Kids Club but for teenagers, who used to tell me, Matt, you're not defined by your writing. That your writing has nothing to do with what God has called you to be. You need to stop looking at that and thinking there's something wrong with you and realize that God has a plan and a purpose for you. That He's created you for a reason. And towards the end of high school, I actually went to Bible college. Would you believe someone who couldn't write properly decided to go on and study more? But here was the amazing thing. Time I got to high school or Bible college, I wasn't failing. I was passing all my exams. I was passing all my assessments. Why? Because I wasn't in Bible college. I didn't get into Bible college because how good my writing was. I got into college because that's where God had called me to be. God had called me to be a minister, to serve a church, to preach to kids like you, to tell kids how much God loves them. So in Bible college, I was actually able to learn more about the skills of what God had given me to do what He called me to do. I want you to know today that in you, God has already planted the seed for everything that God has called you to be. When you were created in your very mother's womb as a small embryo, already there you had a thing called DNA. And in that DNA was all the information required to define who you are and what you're created to be and how you're going to look, tall, small, whatever God is wanting you to be, it's already in that information. And as you grow, you start to discover more of that information. You to discover the skills that you're good at and the path that God has defined for you to take. I want to encourage you today to really follow Jesus in your life, to make God number one. Allow Him to lead you and to show you what He has called you to be. Get around people that can encourage you and highlight those great things that God has put in you, the skills that are already there that you just need to grow more into. And you will find that as you discover what God has called you to be, it will fit perfectly like a perfect puzzle piece in a puzzle into what God has called you to be and created you to be. All your skills, all your abilities, how you are will fit perfectly into that. Because God has made you fearfully and wonderfully made. He has made you perfect. You are amazing. So I pray this week that you discover more and more about how amazing you are, how amazing God says you are, and you discover more about what God has called you to be. He's created you amazing purpose. It's already in there. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't listen to the negative things that people try to put you down, but realize God has called you to greatness, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are amazing. Have an awesome week. Alright, that is it for episode 14 for this week. We hope you guys were inspired and encouraged and know now that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are amazing in God's eyes. Don't forget to be a part of our Zoom live chat this Friday night from 6:30 p.m. The link will go up sometime Friday afternoon, and you can click the link from 6:20. It goes live to be a part of the fun, the games, the conversation, the awesome, encouraging talk times, and the prize giveaway, where you could win maybe a remote control car. You can win Lego. Everyone loves Lego. We've got Nerf guns and so many more awesome prizes. And the last few weeks we've been giving away Krispy Kreme donuts. I love Krispy Kreme donuts. Where's my donuts? Yeah! Maxie really loves donuts. He really loves donuts. So I'm sure that he will be a part of this week's Zoom live chat because for donuts. So yep. So make sure you're on 6:30 this Friday. It's going to be so much fun. We'll see you next week for episode 15. Have an awesome week.